Why is it that all day your discipline is enough? You're focused, you're productive. If you have enough energy, you're able to overcome the urge, and you tell yourself, I'm done with this. But then nighttime hits, or a specific video pops up, or an urge that's specifically strong pops up. And it's like you're a completely different version of yourself. The version of you that had all this willpower and all this control earlier on, it just completely disappears. And then the urge hits, and you're sitting there with the phone in your hand, or the laptop is just sitting right across from you, and you already know what road you're going down. And on top of that, the entire time you know you shouldn't be doing this, but it feels like you just can't stop. And the part that hurts the most isn't even porn anymore. It's just another failed attempt, another broken promise, another shame spiral of thinking to yourself, why can't I stop? And we all know how you feel after that. The post-nut clarity hits, your confidence dwindles, you start to feel like you're not even yourself anymore. And I get it, because I lived that life for 10 years. But hey, you're a persevering guy. So the next day you try again. You say, this time I'm done. But if you look inside, you don't even believe yourself anymore. Because you said it a million times. You said this was the last time. So the problem isn't wanting to quit pornography. The problem isn't even pornography. The problem is what to do when the urge hits. Because if it was about wanting to quit, if it was about discipline or blocker apps, then you wouldn't be here right now. I know you're disciplined. I know you can focus. I know you have big goals set for yourself. The issue isn't effort. The issue is what happens the moment the urge hits and you don't feel in control anymore. And I'm not just some random guy on the other side of the screen telling you about this. I started watching pornography in 7th grade when I was a literal kid. And then in high school, it became a daily thing. Every morning before class, every day after soccer practice, I had literally thousands of saved pictures and videos for me to look back on. And in my mind, I didn't want to delete them because I worked so hard to attain them. How sad is that? It got so bad that the first 3 times I tried to have sex, I couldn't. No matter how hard I tried to get hard, I couldn't. An erection never formed. And then I researched my symptoms and I found out I had PIED, porn-induced erectile dysfunction. What that meant is I watched so much pornography, my brain was rewired. My body would not function correctly with a real girl. I couldn't get an erection with a real girl. But in front of a screen, I was fine. So I was choosing pixels over people. And a few years passed and I realized this wasn't just a problem with my body. Because I had huge goals in life. I couldn't achieve any of them. Because I couldn't focus for longer than 10 minutes. Which led me to get fired from 3 jobs. Not because I wasn't a fit for the role, I was pretty talented, but because every single day I would be distracted. I was always tired. I would waste time during the day. I'd watch pornography from 30 minutes to 3 hours in the middle of the day. And what really pisses me off is I would tell myself I would stop. I would delete all of the photos. I would unfollow all of those people on social media. You know what kind of people I'm talking about. But as soon as a particularly strong urge hit, I didn't stand a chance, and I would relapse. And I started to think I was going to be like this forever. I started to think there was no way for me to get out of this. And the worst part is you just stop trusting yourself. Because you know what to do, but it's like in the moment, you're not the one making the decision. And I really started to think, what's actually wrong with me? And at this point, I had enough. So I went all in. I scrambled together $5,000 and I flew from California to Austin, Texas at 18, 19 years old to learn from the best behavior expert, the smartest person I knew. Because I knew it wasn't about willpower. It was about changing my brain. And I realized there, it wasn't that I was weak. It wasn't that something was wrong with me. It was simply a behavior that I taught myself. I realized I had triggers, I had common relapse times, and I saw the pattern. And it wasn't random. It was actually a hidden system running in the background that kept pulling me back. And once I saw the system, that's when I was actually able to quit. Because once you see the loop that you're stuck in, that's when everything becomes easier to manage and possible to actually break free from it. And it's not just me that this process works with. Once I freed myself and I was 6, 7, 9 months clean, I started helping other men in the same cycle. Now I'm a year and a half clean at the time of the recording. But one of my clients, he worked from home. He used to watch porn 3 to 4 times every single week. It might not sound like a lot, But every time he did watch pornography, the sessions were 2, 3, even 6 hours at a time. And some nights, he would watch pornography from sunset to sunrise, the entire night. It got to a point where he couldn't control his urges. And him and one of his friends actually had this agreement where he would pay for them to send them pictures. Let that sink in. But now, using neuro reprogramming, he's 90 days free from pornography. Another one of my clients, he watched pornography almost every day, 5 times a week. And after working together with me for 1.5 months, we cut it down to once a week. We're still working together, but he saved 4 hours every single day of the week. That's how he's able to get more in his life. He's able to work towards his goals rather than wasting time on pixels. And another guy who's actually very disciplined. He's building a business. He's working 2 jobs to support himself. He's no stranger to hard work. But he felt like he could never move forward in his life because his whole day was filled with triggers. Social media, girls wearing small clothing, soft pornography all over his social media feed. He told me it felt impossible to get ahead because anytime he had free time, he'd fall right back into pornography. But once we found out his pattern, once we rewired his brain, he stopped wasting time watching all that BS. And now he's able to actually enjoy his life without giving away his energy to girls he never met before. But the huge thing that I want you to realize is whenever I have these conversations with men, it doesn't end but with them saying, oh, I stopped watching porn. It ends with them telling me, thank you. I feel like myself again. I'm actually able to get shit done during the day. I'm able to have a good night's sleep without relapsing. I actually feel confident now. And look, these guys aren't some special people. They're everyday Joes, just like you and me, dealing with the same cycle. This is why blockers won't free you, because you can bypass them. Apps don't work, because you can ignore them. And motivation, let's forget about motivation, because it's gone the second the urge hits. You don't need a surface level solution. You need to rewire your brain. This is why I put together neuro reprogramming. Not just another program, but a system that rewires you from your habits. We break down the exact pattern. We find out where your urges are coming from. We're going to install a plan for what to do when the urge hits. And most importantly, I help you build a life that porn doesn't fit into. So that way, you feel like yourself again. You stop wasting your potential on this horrible habit, and you can actually feel confident in your own skin without this one dark spot lingering in the back of your mind. So if you're watching this, it's not random. You're here because you're tired of going in circles, and you're tired of getting nowhere with your life. So if you're serious about quitting porn addiction, then either you already scheduled a call, and we're going to speak, and I'm going to help you break free from this, or you haven't scheduled a call yet. So if you haven't scheduled a call yet, click the link down below and book a time for you and me to go through your trigger tracker, build a trigger tracker, and actually break you free from this addiction. And if you've already booked the call, then I cannot wait to talk to you because we're going to break down your system. And just to give you even more ammunition to beat this habit, I recorded a few FAQ videos, so a lot of frequently asked questions that I get. I'm going to put them down below. It's going to give you everything that you need to know before we talk. And just watch the videos, one by one. Watch on 2x speed so it saves you some time. And we'll talk soon.